Timeless Parisian Summer Style 2026 Elegant Minimal Looks inspired by Celine. Welcome to Parisian Outfits, where I love diving into the quiet beauty of timeless style. Today, I'm exploring Parisian summer fashion for 2026, inspired by the refined minimalism of Celine. I think there's something incredibly powerful about simplicity when it's done with intention. What I find interesting is how these looks feel both modern and completely timeless at the same time. Have you ever wondered why Parisian outfits seem effortless yet always look so expensive? The philosophy of timeless Parisian style. I think timeless Parisian style is rooted in restraint rather than excess. In my experience, the fewer pieces you rely on, the more each one matters. What I find interesting is how this approach contrasts with trend-driven wardrobes that constantly evolve. Unlike fast fashion styling, this mindset feels calm and grounded. It creates a sense of identity rather than confusion. Why Celine defines modern minimalism. In my experience, Celine represents a kind of quiet luxury that doesn't need to announce itself. I think its clean lines and subtle details make it incredibly wearable. What I find interesting is how the brand avoids unnecessary decoration while still feeling luxurious. Unlike overly embellished designs, this simplicity feels more intentional. It's elegance without noise. The importance of a neutral palette. I think neutral colors are essential to achieving a Parisian summer look. In my experience, tones like ivory, black, beige, and muted browns create a seamless aesthetic. What I find interesting is how these colors allow the focus to shift to silhouette and texture. Unlike bold patterns, neutrals feel more sophisticated and versatile. They create a wardrobe that works effortlessly together. Light fabrics that elevate comfort. In my experience, summer style is defined by how comfortable you feel throughout the day. I think breathable fabrics like linen and cotton are key to maintaining elegance in warm weather. What I find interesting is how these materials naturally enhance movement. Unlike heavier or synthetic fabrics, they create a softer, more relaxed look. It's a balance between comfort and refinement. Tailoring as a quiet luxury detail. I think tailoring is one of the most powerful yet invisible elements of style. In my experience, even the simplest outfit can look elevated when it fits perfectly. What I find interesting is how small adjustments can completely change the perception of a piece. Unlike ill-fitting garments, tailored clothing feels intentional. It's a subtle but transformative detail. The power of a minimal dress. In my experience, a minimalist dress is one of the easiest ways to achieve elegance. I think clean silhouettes with subtle movement create a timeless look. What I find interesting is how simplicity allows the focus to remain on the overall aesthetic. Unlike heavily detailed dresses, minimal designs feel more refined. They offer effortless beauty without distraction. Balancing structure and fluidity. I think one of the defining traits of Parisian style is the balance between structure and softness. In my experience, pairing tailored pieces with flowing fabrics creates harmony. What I find interesting is how this contrast adds depth to an outfit. Unlike overly rigid or overly relaxed looks, this balance feels intentional. It creates a refined yet approachable style. Footwear that complements, not competes. In my experience, footwear should support the outfit rather than dominate it. I think simple sandals or classic flats work best for a minimalist wardrobe. What I find interesting is how understated shoes create a cohesive look. Unlike bold statement footwear, these choices feel more timeless. They complete the outfit without overwhelming it. Accessories with subtle impact. I think accessories should enhance rather than distract. In my experience, one or two carefully chosen pieces are more than enough. What I find interesting is how minimal accessories can feel more luxurious than layered ones. Unlike over-accessorized outfits, this approach feels refined. It's about intentional simplicity. The art of repeating outfits. In my experience, repeating outfits is actually a sign of confidence. I think Parisian style embraces consistency rather than constant change. What I find interesting is how wearing the same pieces in different ways builds a signature look. Unlike trend-driven wardrobes, this approach feels stable. It creates a sense of personal identity. Quality over quantity mindset. I think investing in fewer, better pieces is the foundation of a timeless wardrobe. In my experience, quality always outlasts quantity. What I find interesting is how this mindset changes the way you shop. Unlike impulse buying, intentional purchases feel more meaningful. It's a slower but more satisfying process. Avoiding overstyling. In my experience, one of the biggest mistakes is trying too hard to look stylish. I think overstyling often takes away from the natural elegance of an outfit. What I find interesting is how simplicity can feel more luxurious than complexity. Unlike overly layered looks, minimal outfits feel calm. It's about knowing when to stop. Seasonal versatility of key pieces. I think a well-curated wardrobe should adapt easily across seasons. In my experience, layering plays a crucial role in this flexibility. What I find interesting is how the same pieces can evolve with small changes. Unlike trend-heavy wardrobes, this approach feels sustainable. It's both practical and stylish. Confidence as the final element. I think confidence is what truly defines Parisian style. In my experience, how you wear something matters more than what you wear. What I find interesting is how confidence transforms minimal outfits into powerful statements. Unlike relying on trends, this approach feels authentic. It's an internal element that shows externally. Creating a signature aesthetic. In my experience, developing a personal style is more valuable than following trends. I think Parisian fashion encourages consistency and individuality. What I find interesting is how a signature look builds recognition over time. Unlike constantly changing styles, it feels grounded. It becomes part of your identity. Emotional connection to style. I think clothing should reflect how you want to feel. In my experience, Parisian outfits often evoke calm, confidence, and ease. What I find interesting is how this emotional connection shapes the overall aesthetic. Unlike purely visual styling, this approach feels deeper. It creates a more meaningful wardrobe. Modern updates for 2026. In my experience, 2026 fashion introduces subtle updates to classic styles. I think these small changes keep the look fresh without losing its essence. What I find interesting is how innovation blends seamlessly with tradition. Unlike drastic shifts, these updates feel natural. It's evolution rather than reinvention. The quiet luxury effect. I think quiet luxury is at the heart of Parisian summer style. In my experience, it's about subtle details rather than obvious branding. What I find interesting is how this approach feels more personal and refined. Unlike loud logos, quiet luxury speaks softly but clearly. It's confidence without display. Final thoughts on timeless Parisian elegance. I think timeless Parisian summer style is about intention, simplicity, and confidence. In my experience, focusing on quality and balance creates lasting elegance. What I find interesting is how accessible this approach becomes once you shift your mindset. So, which piece in your wardrobe already reflects this refined minimal aesthetic? If you enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe to Parisian Outfits for more timeless style inspiration.